Good morning. You ready to sing? All right, here we go. This is really easy because I sing a line and then you just sing it back. That's simple. All is well in my soul. All is well in my soul. Wherever I am, wherever I go, all is well in my soul. Good. We got it. Now sing it like you're riding in your car, singing with the radio. All is well. There we go. All is well. All is well in my soul. I'm living in love and letting it flow. All is well in my soul. All right. Okay, that was good. That was a lot louder. That was the car radio. So this time sing it like you're singing in the shower. Nobody's listening. All is well in my soul. All is well in my soul. When I let God and then I let go, well, all is well in my soul. All is well in my soul, in my soul. Oh. We're here, we're happening.
So, do you know how very blessed we are to have Mr. Robert Anderson with us this morning? We are delighted. So about half the people sitting out there are prayer chaplains, and they have been praying with you for months, and the other folks have been praying with you at least off and on when we remembered to remind them. So we are delighted that you are here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How does it feel to have me say good morning and I'm not wrong? It's nice to say good morning and have it be morning. And I found out that should you ever want to come to my house out in Centennial/Littleton, coming at 8:30 in the morning is the fastest time to come. So I'll have to just invite you for breakfast because I made it in here much more quickly than I ever have before. So there are some advantages to getting up and, quote, coming to work early. So we are delighted that you are all here. You all look like family to me. So I'm not going to say we're glad you're here because you're a newcomer. You might be a newcomer online, but you are present and part of the family in this moment. So on Saturday the 21st, which will be, quote, next Saturday, that's when the Red Tent Society meets at Unity of Denver down on University. And it's a women's group. And I know we're almost a women's group right here. But if you would like to be part of a women's only group, and if you would like to participate in some of the wonderful events they have, I went on retreat out at Sunrise Ranch with them last summer. So you might consider coming on down to the women's retreat, to the women's group, the Red Tent group, next Saturday at 9 o'clock. And the annual summit. Do any of you have any idea what the annual summit is? I didn't think you did. So, the annual summit started, well, someone you know was in charge of helping it come into being. The annual summit has been going on now. This will be its 7th year, and it is now online, and it is free. So if you would like to know what Unity Worldwide Ministries are doing and see a presentation from our CEOs and see what we're up to and what the future is and what's happening, you too can attend this. It's in the newsletter, but it all happens online. So and it's free. So it's free and it's online. There are no excuses. You can all participate. I'll actually be in Kansas City, but all of you can participate right here in Denver. I invite you to join me in our statement of faith. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Thank you, Robert. So I'd like for you all to just relax in your seats. Let the chair support you fully. And take a deep and cleansing breath. And let us pray together about this quiet place, however you interpret that. And let us hear from Luke in chapter 1. He said, I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. So as we drop down into our heart space where we are quiet, it is always quiet there. And let us say, even in the midst of noise and clamor, there is a quiet place that I can retreat to, a place where concerns are left behind, and I am totally aware of being in the presence of God. This quiet place is nearer than the air I breathe, for it is within my soul. Turning within, I feel the peace of God surrounding me in a warm embrace, and I experience that embrace. Enfolded in peace, I experience how it feels to have every nerve soothed and my mind swept clean of confusion. Once again, I am focused on the presence of God, my source of life and living. No person or circumstance can disrupt the peace I feel in this quiet place. I turn from this sanctuary of peace, I'm renewed, I am refreshed, and I am revitalized. And so it is. Amen.
So I would like to ask you to just relax. Not really meditation, but might help to put both feet on the floor and I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let Spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks on my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Good morning. I'm glad to see you all this morning. What's the matter? My mic is falling off. Ah. Well, we each have many opportunities throughout every single day. And I'm curious, what is a regular part of each of your days? I'm expecting you to chat with me. I'm going to move Ken. So, what do you do every day, Heidi?
Well, first thing, I gotta have a cup of coffee.
Gotta have a cup of coffee. Then what?
And then I think about what I want to bring in to that day. And I usually do a meditation. And sometimes I'll do it in the evening, sometimes in the morning, just depends on how the day goes.
Okay. What do you do every day, Robert?
I get up and immediately count my blessings. And I also try to stay mostly with what I came here to do, and that involves music. So most of my day is writing or rehearsing or playing or listening. So it's all about music. And I have to have a cup of coffee sometime during the day. And I meditate almost always in the evening.
So you're an evening meditator.
And short.
And short. What do you do every day?
I have 2 cups of coffee before noon and do some morning meditation and then do a Spanish lesson on Mango languages.
Okay, so you're learning in the morning. What do you do every day, Pam?
Boring. Besides coffee, I read the Denver Post and the Wall Street Journal
Okay.
every day,
Uh-huh.
except Sunday. Wall Street doesn't come. But I actually cook and bake a lot, and I spend a lot of time on relationships with family, friends, granddaughter, great-grandkids, etc. I'm pretty connected.
So you're connecting to your family.
Yes.
Okay, so what are you up to in the every day?
I have a husband that has a great sense of humor, so what we often do in the morning is he loves to read the Denver Post comics, and he reads them all. I don't read them all, but but he shares the ones that he really gets laughs out of. And then I recently got him a phone where he can be on Facebook, and he has some people with positive things on there. We share the funny things we see on there, funny animal things and things that make us smile.
Okay. All right. Sure, pass it to Ellen.
Okay, well, first thing, I let my dog out. Second thing, I make my coffee. Third thing, I open my New York Times on my tablet and do Wordle. And then it goes on from there.
We're missing all the things that go on from there. It's so nice that none of you have anything to do. I'm surprised. I know you have other things to do. Lisa, what do you do when you get up?
When I get up in the morning, first thing I say is thank you for another day. Next thing, I feed the dogs, and while they're out eating, I make myself a cup of coffee. Then I read my daily word, and then I get dressed and I go to work for about 10 hours and try to remain sane while I'm there. And then I come home, feed the dogs, maybe take them to the dog park or go for a walk. And then depending on the night, I go to Pilates and come home, make dinner, then go to bed.
Pretty complete announcement. I won't pick on you, David. What do you do? Come on, Nina. I like what you do. Talk to him.
First thing I do when I get up in the morning is love on the cats, and then I pray to God for strength, guidance, and direction for that day, because that's real important for me to stay connected to the source.
Okay.
And then I take a shower, and then I go to the gym, and pray that I do God's will for that day and not my own will.
Okay. Deep desire to tell me what you do, any of you? Sure, Jess, tell them what you do.
So we all wake up and get everyone dressed, and then there's the dealing with the poop. So there's the humans, the adults, the children, poops, and the diapers, and then we've got the cat scooping up the poop, and then the dog pooping outside and with the bag, and so poop is a very common theme in the morning. And then there's food, and there's clothes, and at some point, we all work. And then reverse the process. And then sleep.
Thank you. Elle, do you want to talk about your day?
Sure, I can. Like everyone else, wake up, have coffee. We started getting up an hour early just because we like couch time together, or we just, flip through social media, or we read our books, and we have coffee together before we go to work. Then I call my mother every morning on the drive to work, or I get in trouble. I work with Alzheimer's patients, so every day is somewhat the exact same and completely different, depending on whatever chaos the day throws at us, whether people are passing away or new people are moving in. And then we go home and we silently argue over who will feed the family. You make dinner? No, I'll make dinner. And our weeks are much different because we have kids for a week and no kids for a week. So what we do when we have children versus we don't have children is much different. There's a lot of ferrying teenagers around to volleyball instead activities.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk? No? All right. So when I think of days, never can tell, I might want to pick that up again. I think about householder things. I bet you all do laundry sometime. I bet you might clean your house from time to time. I bet you might do dishes. I'm curious now, Nina, I heard a little self-care in her day because she goes to the gym. Not too many of you talked about playing. Do you have playing in each day? Now, I know Pam likes to go dancing, and that's her form. 4 times a week she plays. Penny, I didn't ask you a thing, did I? I'm sorry I neglected you. And learning, the study part, we have somebody studying Spanish. What do you choose to learn each day? Some of us know that we haven't learned everything yet, so we're working on learning. Then there's the couch potato part. We heard a little bit of that, kind of from that part of the room. Couch time is an important part. How do you schedule being? And if I were to ask you what it means to just be, it would be interesting to see what your answer would be. Now, some of you referred to meditating, but there is meditating that is like, I am now going to sit and meditate. Awesome activity. And yet, in a sense, that's different from being. What do you do when you're simply being? We live in a world where we want to make a difference, and yet we learn to surrender. So do we get up in the morning with the intention of changing the world? Or do we get up in the morning with the intention of being with the world as it is? It sounds like a paradox, but in my experience, all of spirituality is a paradox. We're in this room primarily because we have left behind the rigid, this is how it's done, and yet we don't live in a world where we don't get to do, I'm sorry, let me try that sentence again. We don't live in a world where doing nothing, just being, works much of the time. How do we find that middle ground? How do we find that place of allowing what's unfolding to be what it is, and at the same time, how do we take an active part? Tomorrow's a holiday, Martin Luther King's birthday. Dr. King had a fair amount of being time that was created simply because he was sitting in a jail cell. What do you do when you're in a jail cell, possibly alone, possibly with others, mostly alone? You don't have a device. You might have a book. You might have paper and pencil. One of the most important speeches turned into speech, but one of the most important communications Dr. King had was from the Birmingham jail. He wrote it in longhand. He wrote it in a notebook, much like you wrote in when you were a kid in school. He said, "I have never before written a letter this long, or should I say, book. I'm afraid that it is much too long to take your precious time. I can assure you that it would have been much shorter if I had been writing from a comfortable desk. But what else is there to do when you are alone for days in the dull monotony of a narrow jail cell other than write long letters? Pray wrong letters. Where's the time to simply be in your world and to be open and receptive, to being aware, to noticing where your thoughts go, and for noticing that choosing to be angry can last for a while. Choosing to be hurt can last for a while at the unkindness of other people. But how do we move beyond those judgments into a place of pure being? One of Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity's most famous statement is, "I am now in the presence of pure being." And it's not part of most of our days to schedule being time. And from my perspective, at least, when I like to look at differences, I see being time as slightly different than meditation. Because in meditation, we're letting go of things. In being time, we are often acquiring thoughts, acquiring ideas, acquiring concepts. And we either choose to focus on them, develop them, take them somewhere, or we just let them go like clouds. We look at the scene of the mountain in front of us and we're blessed by living in the mountains. Do we see the mountains? Or are they just part of the backdrop of our world? A French philosopher once said, "No man is strong unless he bears within his character the antithesis strongly marked." The antithesis are the opposites. We get caught in the this is what's right. This is how I was raised. This is what's the right and perfect thing. When in truth, even in this group, we were raised many different ways. We had many different background experiences. And we tend to view the world from our vantage point. To be in the presence of pure being, to simply be, is to create the possibilities for, quote, our enemy's point of view. What if we didn't really have any enemies? What if we were simply open to how people who were raised over here have a different view? Robert comes to us from Yuma, a tiny eastern dot on the map of Colorado, pretty much surrounded by, I'm a Midwesterner, so I'd say farms. You might say ranches, you might say farmland. That's very different than if he were raised in 5 Points. And it's not like farmers are right and 5 Points are wrong, nor is 5 Points right and farmers wrong. And yet we currently live in this space of polar opposites. And when we say in the morning that we're radically inclusive, how do we allow all these different points to be a part of our beingness? One of my favorite scriptures comes from Ecclesiastes. I could have asked Robert to sing that one, but I didn't. But I know that you all know that to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal. All of that has to fit in the basket we call being. If we lived in Ukraine right now, we would be having a very different experience. Our homes may be safe, and they may be gone in the next minute. Right now, if we lived in California, who knows? They go from drought and fire to flood. But in the midst of all of that, there's being. And the only way we can get to that kind of being place and allow being in our day is to acknowledge what is. So there's the things we try to change. God knows I have spent my life trying to change things, sometimes totally unsuccessfully. And there's the things that I have learned to accept just exactly the way they are. And from my own experience, it's only in this place of being that I can look at and consider what the differences are. So within your day, which is jam full and jelly packed, could you consider space for being? Now, I heard things said that can be being. Jeff loves to be in the mountains. That's where he can just be. He can do it with his dog. He can now do it with his son. Some of you prefer to be on a walk. Some of you prefer to sit. Some of you prefer to clean. Amazingly enough, some people find being time in cleaning. The very first time I honestly ever learned to, quote, experience what meditation was, I was ironing. I used to iron a lot of clothes every week. Lots of shirts, lots of other things. But in that process, you don't have to think real hard about ironing. You don't have to think real hard about sweeping the floor. You don't have to think real hard about doing dishes. In some space that creates comfortability for you, one of my favorite being places is my bathtub. I love to have it full of hot water and simply lay there. If you knew how many talks actually came from my bathtub, you would be surprised. You wouldn't necessarily want to watch them come, but that's where they come from. So I'm not here to tell you where your being place is. It could be jogging. It could be working out. You do enough reps of something, you're going to not be doing anything but counting. So where is your being place? The quote that we put in a newsletter, Myrtle Fillmore from Healing Letters, be still. Be still. Be still. God in the midst of you is substance. God in the midst of you is love. God in the midst of you is wisdom. The biggest challenge we all have to being in this moment is there is no stillness in our life. A time when the radio's not going, the television's not going, your phone's not going. Just stillness. That's the place you can find being. Now, when Robert is being music, that's different than seeking noise. He is actively creating music. If you're a musician, you can actively create being in your music. We have an opportunity to connect with others when we're being. Our prayer chaplains is an awesome group. If you aren't a prayer chaplain, consider the possibility that you might want to be one. Because when we come together and we simply are being together, there's a connection there that is different from being alone. So you see connection as being with, being as not being involved? There's an infinite number of ways to be. But our opportunity is to be conscious in all of them. And deadening our consciousness is the activity of a lot of days. A lot of us use our phones that way. It's just a way to escape from being. Because being is sometimes unpleasant. Cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness, God consciousness, the Christ Spirit in us. We have all those words, but they're simply words if we aren't practicing them. So we can come together in consciousness and connect. We can connect in consciousness by ourselves. But that activity of being is where that happens. That's your opportunity to be. If we make conscious living our guide, that gives us an opportunity. One of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Being right is not an activity of being. Being happy is an activity of being. So we have conscious living as our guide. We have oneness, either as we sit with ourselves or we sit in community with others. And the most important part for me is to experience what is. Byron Katie's book, Loving What Is, means that we get to sit with our own thoughts and love what is. The snarky remark somebody made to us, the criticism that was made, the judgment about what somebody else should have done or not done. It's an interesting space, and here's an important word, to have the intention to live in. I personally can't do it perfectly, but I can live in the intention of choosing to accept what is, and as the Serenity prayer would say, change the things that I can change, let go of the rest. That's being. So, I invite you to choose to be with me together in meditation. That begins with a big sigh. It begins with letting go, releasing, sighing it out. The first thing that pops into our mind is usually a very good thing to let go of. Letting go of judgment. Letting go of whatever feelings are arising for you. letting go of the things you still have to do today. Letting go of the sound of our beloved children. Simply letting go. Simply allowing what is to be now, and to know that in this moment you are only responsible for yourself. We breathe into that awareness. We allow it to be our truth. We are aware and we notice. If we are being, we can follow a thought that has come to us. What would happen if that thought came to fruition? Is there something there that you can control? Is it about you or is it about someone else? Is it about judgment? Is it about love? Is it about compassion? We choose the avenue that our thoughts pursue. We journey many places in our mind's eye. What journey is yours today? Knowing that you and God are one, that you are powerful beyond belief, that you are strong and wise, that you are filled with life and love. What direction is your mind pursuing? We let it be. Then we take another breath. We come back to this moment. And in coming back to this moment, we know that our journey to beingness can be taken up at any time. We are open and receptive to the living Spirit of truth living in and through and as us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. So this is the time when we have an opportunity to financially support this place that we call home. We can do it online with our donate button, and we have our square not set up in the back, but it is downstairs, and we can plug it in a heartbeat because we would love to allow you to use your credit cards. You also get to shop at King Soopers and bless us every time, or every time you shop on Amazon, you can bless us with 0.5% of everything you spend. How about that? So those are our opportunities, and I invite you to affirm our offertory affirmation with us. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I and all that I receive.
So you can just jump right in with me on this song if you want. It's really easy. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy, we let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace, we let the peace wash over us. We let it be.
Yay for all of us. All right, we have children. They are coming to me as we speak. Yay, all right. Oh my goodness. Hello, Joey. You haven't had a turn up here yet, have you? Yeah, this is Joey. I think Jay's on his way. Hold on, Jay. It's your job. All right, children. You are loved, special, and important. We see the divine being you are. Will you just hold my hand? How about if you all stand and join me in the prayer for protection? So together we know the light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
All is well in my soul. All is well in my soul. Wherever I am, wherever I go, all is well in my soul. All is well in my soul.